Hi everybody, this is Mona and Stephanie, and we're going to go ahead and get started with the Sears Sales Reporting Application webinar. Just looking at some of your results, it looks like the majority of you don't have any experience yet with Sears Sales Reports. A couple of you are beginners and someone else is more intermediate, so that's really helpful for us to know. And also just looking at the different businesses that you support, it's helpful for Stephanie as well as she goes through the content. So we are going to go ahead and get started at this point. So like I said, today we are covering Sears Sales Alex reports. And we are recording today's webinar. I will get this link up on our YouTube page. It takes a little bit longer with this new application we're using, but it is much better quality, which is nice. So it may not be by end of day today, maybe tomorrow or Friday, but I will send out that video link as well as the PowerPoint to you. Also, over on the right side of your screen above the chat pod, you will see a Files for Download pod. From this pod, you can access both the PowerPoint presentation that we're going over today. You can also access the Sears Sales Reporting Application Overview Guide. So it's going to break everything down. It has a lot of helpful screenshots. I would strongly recommend that you download both of those. You can download it by just clicking the file and then clicking Download File. Also, up at the very top, I want to point out to you, going across that menu bar, there is an icon of a man raising his hand. So if at any point you are just way behind or you're super confused, you can select from that drop-down, and you could do to slow down if we need to slow down. If you have a question, you can raise your hand. Also, do keep in mind we do have the sound muted on the phone just so we can get a good audio recording quality. Please use that chat pod on your bottom right corner of your screen for questions. And feel free to ask questions at any point in that chat pod. And if we need to, we can re-enter interactive talk mode at the end of the session for any final questions. And finally, just some webinar etiquette. If you could please put yourself in Do Not Disturb status on all messaging apps and close email applications until the session is over. That will just ensure that you get the most out of the session that you can. When we go through the demos, please feel free to open up another browser and access the Sears Sales Reporting application if you currently have access, and follow along with Stephanie and try to run some of the reports. I know some of you do not have access. I tried to reach out to those that I could just to let you know. You're still welcome to attend the webinar. You may use this webinar to decide whether or not you want to ask for access. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and pass this back to Stephanie.
Hi everybody. So a little bit about me. I'm the instructional designer and VU trainer with a focus mostly on inventory management associates. Before that, I was an inventory and then a senior inventory analyst for 3 years, and I supported some Kmart businesses, Infant Hardlines and Kmart Kids World seasonal and basics. During that time, I used Alex reporting to illustrate sales performance, manage inventory levels, and assist with some special store projects. So today we're going to learn how to differentiate the 5 report template options, access, navigate, and update the homepage preferences, complete the report prompts, save and subscribe to reports, edit some report results, export our results to Excel, and we'll use some help resources. So what is this Sears Sales Reports? Sears Sales Reports provide access to sales and inventory reports via the vendor portal. This information was previously accessed through Sears Business Exchange, or SBE. The reporting platform for the new Sears Sales Reporting application is quite different than the reporting offered through SBE, but it provides many more options and features. And it's good for you guys to know that your buying or your inventory teams at SHC might refer to this new application as Alex. The new reporting platform does offer more options and flexibility. You can now view merchandise and location on the same report, as well as units, cost dollars, and sales dollars. In addition, you can view information for multiple DUNS numbers and divisions on the same report. Completely new, you can select attributes to report against, like brand, season, or color. You can also review full-line store sales and online store sales either separately or on the same report. You can save, subscribe to, and schedule reports and choose to view them either online or you could export them directly to Excel. Reports are available in your history for up to 2 weeks, and you can edit report results and create graphic representations. Finally, these reports run much more quickly than they did in the SBE sales report. Access to sales reports is not required, but it is useful in managing your business with Sears. It requires a licensing fee of $550 per person, plus an annual maintenance fee of $100. If your company acquired access to SBE sales reports before the transition to Sears Sales Reports, your company and users are covered in the original contract between our companies. It's nice to know also that the licenses are transferable too. So if you are going to acquire the license and maybe you're going to be, maybe you move to a different desk, different position, whoever's sitting in your desk next would be able to use that license. If you would like to request or verify your access, please email vendors@searshc.com. There are 2 sales report templates, gross sales summary and net sales by type, and 3 inventory report templates, sales in stock, sales in site turnover, and sales in inventory. For the sales reports, data up to 2 years back plus year to date is accessible and can be requested 1 day prior to today's date. Keep in mind that the calendar year is based on the Sears 445 calendar, which always begins on a Sunday. For the inventory reports, only data for the previous week can be displayed, and it can be requested 2 days prior to today's date. So you guys can see on the right-hand side of your screen in a box that says Q3, a little bit of a poll question to check if you guys have been paying attention. If you could, go ahead and select the answer that you believe is the correct answer. For sales reports, you can retrieve data and go ahead and vote. There we go.
Okay, just a few more seconds, then we'll close the poll.
And for those of you who, oh, sorry, go ahead.
Oh, I accidentally clicked the wrong thing. Okay.
So for those of you who selected 2 years back, you are correct. For sales reports, you can retrieve data up to 2 years back. So great job and good catch. Great for paying attention. We thank you for that. So there's another little check for knowledge. So what about the inventory reports? If you can vote, again, that Q4 box on the right-hand side of your screen, vote for the answer to the best, your best answer for inventory reports. You can retrieve data.
Okay, just a few more seconds, and then we'll close the poll.
All right, so now we've closed that poll, and for those of you who selected only for the previous week, you would be correct. So great job. For inventory, it is only for the previous week. The same 5 report templates are available in Sears Sales Alex reports as were available in the SBE sales reports. You still have the gross sales summary, net sales by type, sales in stock, sales in inventory, and Sales Insight turnover. The reporting platforms are different, but we thought it would be helpful to make the same templates available to ease the transition to this new application. So the gross sales summary report. This displays gross sales information by time for gross sales data. The report enables views of gross and net sales, returns, and post-sales adjustments. You can see here some of the column headings, as well as what this report, once it's been generated, looks like in the web application. And here's a blown-up view of that gross sales summary report. This is an example of the summary report within that application. And this is also what it would look like if you were to export it to Excel and selected the option with formatting. The net sales by type report. This is a report that displays the product information by time for net sales data. This report enables a view of the breakdown of net sales by regular, promo, and clearance sales. And again, you can see what some of these report headings look like in the application. And then here's what it would look like if you were to export it to Excel without formatting. So this example was exported as plain text, which in my experience, this is what I would prefer when I was trying to manipulate some of this data into a little bit of a more readable view. The sales in stock report displays information by week for sales and markdowns, inventory, receipts, on order, and inventory productivity. The report provides a view of receipts, inventory, sales to stock ratio, checkout, and turnover. You can see a list of some of the available columns here. The sales and inventory report displays sales and inventory information for the last closed fiscal week. This report enables a view of the breakdown by regular, event, and clearance sales, plus inventory on hand and on order for the stores, distribution centers, and total chain. And again, here's some of the options that you are able to pull from this report. The Sales Insight Turnover Report displays information by week for sales, insight, and turnover metrics. These include gross sales, distribution center disbursements, turnover, inventory on hand, and on order. So we've got one of our little fun knowledge checks, and you can see on the right-hand side, you could answer Q5. Which report would you run to view information by week for sales and markdowns, inventory receipts, on order, and inventory productivity?
Just a few more seconds, and then we will close the poll.
So for those of you who selected sales and stock, that would definitely be the best choice. Great job. But we're not done yet. Which report would you run to view information by week for sales, insight, and turnover metrics? Oh.
Okay, just a few more seconds. Looks like most of you are getting this one, so that's great.
And yes, like most of you selected, it would be the Sales Insight Turnover Report. Wasn't a trick question. So which report would you run to view sales and inventory information for the last closed fiscal week?
few more seconds.
All right, for those of you who selected sales and inventory, you would be correct. Which report would you run to view gross and net sales, returns, and post-sales adjustments?
Few more seconds.
And for those of you who selected gross sales summary, you were correct. How about if you wanted to view product information by time for net sales data? Which report would that one be?
Just a few more seconds.
Great job, guys. And if you selected net sales by type, you are correct. And thanks for participating and paying attention. Great job. So now we're going to do our first demo for today. This demo will cover access, navigation, and homepage preferences. So everybody should be able to see my screen, and we're starting here at the vendor portal. All the SDE applications where you were able to access those before, the Sears Sales Reporting will also be available here. So I'm going to go ahead and log in. And you should be logging in with your vendor portal login and password. If you do not know your login and password, please email vendors@searshd.com. So now that we've logged in, once we scroll down the page, we can see a group that's labeled the Sears applications. All applications that were previously accessed through the SDE will be located here, including our Alex reporting. So now we're going to want to click the Sales Alex Reports link. If you see the mouse has moved on and it's highlighted over that. Usually once we click this, we should not have to re-enter our login and password. So what you will see on your screen might be a little bit different than what you are seeing with my login. I have access to a few more options, and you probably won't see as many options available to you. So you will probably need to click through several folders to access the reporting templates. You're going to want to click on Alex 3.0. Then from here, we're going to want to look for our shared reports.
So Stephanie, I think, has saved her preferences, so that's why normally it would just go straight to the page where you could click on the shared report. So she's going through it a little bit differently.
So you should be able to click on shared reports, and you should be able to see that page. So now that you're on this page, you guys should probably see something that looks very similar to this. Where I'm going to click on BI Analytics. So now you see I'm scrolling down, and I'm going to access vendor reporting. and finally clicking on Sears Vendor Reporting. Now that we're here, we can see those 5 report templates that are available. To avoid clicking through all those folders to get to those templates, we can update our home page under Preferences. But first, you're going to definitely want to make sure that you are set up, you have navigated first to this page. So we're going to go ahead and do that now. So once I've brought back that expanding box here, you can see along the left-hand side of my screen, there's a Preferences in the left menu bar, and that's what I'm going to go ahead and click on. So see this default start page? Right next to it, we're going to select the radial button next to the last folder, Sears Vendor Reporting. Right there. Then we're going to scroll all the way down, and you can see in the lower left, we can click Apply. So you'll see this little nice, this update confirmation up at the top saying that my personal preferences have been saved. So this means that once we enter the Sears Sales Reports application and click Alex 3.0, it will automatically direct us to that Sales Reports template page. Or you can click that Home button on the page at any time to go straight there. So once I click this little Home, you'll see now that I'm able to go straight to the reporting page that we want to access. So if you have had a little bit of experience in this and maybe have logged in before, definitely I would experiment clicking through these, and you click on the desired report to view some of those template options. It gets to be really fun once you're experimenting, trying to pull data, and you actually get exactly what you wanted to come back. So there are 13 sections available to edit on templates. Sections 3, 5, 6, and 12 must be populated to run the report. The other sections are optional. And in this example, it's the Sears Vendor Net Sales by type. So you would use the menu bar on the left to access each section. If you guys are kind of following along, feel free to navigate to this report, and you guys can see what I'm talking about here in real time. So to run a report, at a minimum, you must complete those sections 3, 5, 6, and 12, and then click Run Report. So the minimum requirements, this is breaking out exactly what those sections are talking about. So you would need to add a time filter, product merchandise filters, product merchandise view, view by summary metrics, and then you would be able to click that Run Report. One thing you'll notice with the criteria section details is that typically they'll work in pairs. So for example, in section 1, you select which DUNS number information to include on the report, and in section 2, you select whether or not to include the DUNS information. If you only select one DUNS number in section 1, then it may not be necessary to include that information on the report. But if you include information for multiple DUNS numbers, you would have no way of knowing what information falls under which DUNS number unless you selected that option in section 2. In section 3, you select what time data to restrict the report to, and in section 4, you select whether to view the time information on the report results. In section 5, you select the product merchandise filter, and in section 6, you specify whether you want to see merchandise represented as rows of data on your report. Section 7 does not work in tandem with another section. You use Section 7 to type in or upload a group of div item SKUs using a CSV file. If you don't know how to create a CSV file, you can view Sears Sales Reporting documentation for instructions. In Section 8, you specify the selling locations to report against. And in Section 9, you select whether to view the locations represented as rows of data on your report. So you use Section 10 to specify product characteristics to report against, and in Section 11, you specify whether to see those product characteristics as rows of data on your report. So you can see here a little bit more about those product characteristics. Those product characteristics are broken out here and include Sears BR brand versus the master brand. The master brand combines single brands into one selection. So maybe you want to see Kenmore. Kenmore would combine Kenmore Pro, Kenmore Elite, and Kenmore product into one master brand. Same thing for Craftsman and DieHard. For the Sears SE season code versus a Sears master season. The SE season code would be a single season like spring 2017 with the master season combining product from more than one season code. So you would be able to see both spring and summer combined into one as spring-summer master season. For the Sears Color Basic versus the Sears Color Descriptive, Sears Color Basic is just the family like green. The Sears Color Descriptive is the shade that's associated with that basic color. So like mallard green, manor green, maple leaf, whatever type of green you're looking at. So finally, you would select the metrics that you would want to include on your report in Section 12. Generally, most of the reports are set to reflect the fields that were returned for the same templates from the SDE sales reports. Many of the templates have some additional metrics that could be included. So the second demo that we're going to cover today will show us how to populate the report prompts, run the reports, save and schedule, edit the results, and export our results back to Excel. So to get started, we're going to click on the Gross Sales Summary Report. Okay, so on the left you can see those 13 sections for the template prompts, and the required sections here are really clearly marked. We can see sections 3, 5, 6, and 12 are required. So let's go ahead and we'll take a look at section 1 here. In section 1, you can select over your DUNS numbers that you'd like to run your report for. So you see a ton of things here on my screen, and that's because I'm an internal user. On your guys' screens, you should only see the DUNS numbers that your ID has access to. So that could be 1 DUNS, 10 DUNS, or more. If you are not seeing any DUNS number available that you know that you should have access to, please reach out to vendors@searshc.com. So go ahead and select which DUNS numbers you want to see. I'm going to go ahead and make a whole bunch of them just so I'm not sharing a whole bunch of confidential information from other vendors with you guys. And once I've made my selection, I was highlighting all those DUNS numbers by holding down my control key and clicking. So I've made those selections. Now I want to bring them over using this little add button in between the two boxes. Now you can see I'm going to be pulling information on all of these DUNS numbers. So now moving on to section 2. We're wanting to arrow over the Sears vendor reporting DUNS number that you want the DUNS for each item to be shown on your report. So if we want all of these DUNS numbers to be broken down so I can know which one is which, I would select in section 2 to bring over the Sears vendor reporting DUNS number. But if I want to kind of have all of those DUNS numbers reported together and not be able to distinguish, which is what I'm going to do, again, so I don't share all that confidential information, I would leave this section alone. And that way I can keep the information in this report anonymous. Section 3 is our time filter. This prompt displays the time variables available to select or enter time. So selecting a time variable restricts the report to only include data based on the time selected. Options available for selection will differ between the sales reports and the inventory reports. For inventory reports, you would select in list last closed week, and that's defaulted, but you can always change that to another criteria if it's available. So for here, we're going to go ahead and click on the custom time weekly. See how I clicked on that plus sign so that it would let me drill down there? So I'm going to continue to click on the plus sign until I can see something that will give me a breakout of time here. You can see now we've got some different elements of time. So I'm going to select from these options the last closed 13 weeks and bring that over. I really liked using that option as an inventory analyst because I felt like it gave me a pretty good grasp of what current trend was. But again, it differs for your business too. So now that we've made our time selection, we can click on Section 4. And this is so that we can view the time information on the report results. Without making a selection here, there will be no time information on the report. So we'll know that we selected 13 weeks, but it won't be broken out, and we won't be able to see a single row. We wouldn't be able to see every single week in those 13 weeks broken out. For this report, we're going to arrow over week. So this is going to show us each week within those last 13 weeks. If you want to select a breakdown by day, you might want to start off using a different time selection, one that's a little bit smaller, so you don't blow your report up and not have it be able to generate. Now let's click on Section 5. So in Section 5, you can choose to view performance results for total sales, or you can drill all the way down to the lowest level and view performance results at the Sears SKU level. Nothing here is selected by default. Be aware that sometimes the selection takes a while to load, especially the first time that you're using it. But as you use it more often, it generally becomes a little bit faster. So if you wanted to see a product that you have available, you could select this 2000 Sears Merchant and arrow it over. But if you wanted to be a little bit more specific about the merchandise that you return on your report, you would want to drill down a little bit further. So you should only see your merchandise options at the hierarchy level. I know that we're going to see a couple more options here because I selected a lot of different vendors in Section 1. So maybe I'm going to go ahead and select the Sears division. You can see here I could drill down through the division filters, and I could select a ton of these, so that way we make sure that everybody's anonymous. Or I could even just select the entire 2000 and bring that over if I wanted to. But this is how you would be able to drill down into a division, and you could keep drilling down into whichever areas that you would want to see.
Also, as another option, if you want to see, I'm not sure if you said this or not, if you want to see all the products that you have available, you can just arrow over the 2000 Sears Merchant at the very top left of that box.
Yeah, so again, if you wanted to see what Mona was just saying, if we want to see that, and I think I'm going to keep it for simplicity's sake, everything that you have available, you would just drill down Sears Product Merchandise, Sears Merchant, and then select this Sears Merchant option and use the arrow to bring it over. So for Section 6, here you could specify the merchandise that you want represented as rows of data, and you can select a couple different options here. You can include multiple selections here. These merchandise view selections work hand in hand with your merchandise filter to enable you to easily review performance results at any level of your hierarchy. Sears Merchant is selected by default, and that's the highest level of the Sears merchandise hierarchy. That's what we're going to use with this report. You can select to view by business or division all the way down to item or SKU. If you choose multiple divisions in Section 5, you may want to select that in Section 6 so that you can see which division items belong to your report. I'm just going to leave it defaulted at the Sears Merchant level. Section 7 lets you type in or upload a group of your div item SKUs. So again, information on creating CSV files, that's in the documentation available on the vendor portal. And for this list, we're not going to load any div items. Section 8 is our geography filter. So this is where we would specify the selling locations that we want to report against. Leaving this blank will allow you to view performance results for total Sears, or you could drill down all the way to lowest level and view performance results at the selling location. Nothing here is selected by default. You could also filter to specific formats. We're going to do that. We're going to make a selection. Or you could even look at different stores. So let's go ahead. We're going to go and select our store format type and drill into it like so. We're going to scroll down, and here I've found my full line stores. I'm going to make that selection and arrow that over. I can also keep scrolling down and I could select my Sears online stores as well. If I wanted to look at sales for specific stores, I would select the location number. I could select those specific stores here. I'm not going to select anything here, but you have that ability if you're digging deep into one or two stores there. So I'm going to leave it alone here. I'm going to just keep it with our full line and our online. In Section 9, you want to specify the locations you want to see represented as rows of data. Multiple selections are permitted, but nothing here is selected by default. The geography view selections work hand in hand with that geography filter, so that you're making sure that you can review the performance results at what you really want to see. So what you selected in Section 8 will determine what is returned in your report results, but if you want to be able to differentiate between the results for the different formats or stores, you do want to make sure that you make a selection in Section 9. So in Section 9, we're going to select store format type and bring it over.
So Ken has a question. Under store operating code, he's asking what the difference between open for profit and closed for profit is.
That's a really good question. I know that open for profit is go forward, open stores. I believe that closed for profit is a new option. I think that it means that they're still selling at a location that's been announced as closing. I believe that's what that metric is. I think that's a newer metric though. Does that help? All right, so for Section 10, this is where we specify the product characteristic or attribute that you want to report against, like that brand, color, or season. Nothing here is selected by default, but we're going to make a selection. We're going to select Basic Master Season for this report. So to do that, we're going to open up the Sears Master and let us select Basic, and we'll bring it over. In Section 11, you're going to specify the product characteristics that you want to see as represented as rows of data. So in Section 10, we selected the Basic, which includes season codes, basic replenished, and basic non-replenished. In Section 11, we're going to select Sears SE season code for this report. So this will let us see which of the items on the report are basic replenished and which are basic non-replenished. Sorry guys, there we go. So then for Section 12, we're going to specify the sales-related metrics here that you want to see and want to include. Section 12 is defaulted for all templates except for that sales and stock report. You are able to change these criteria selections, so if you didn't want to see something, you could grab it and put it back, or if you wanted to add anything that's over here, you could grab it and add it. I'm going to leave this section as is. So once we've completed all of the criteria, we are able to scroll down here, and we can click Run Report. You'll see that's in the lower left, Run Report. So if in SBE, it could take hours for a report to run. You'll notice that in Alex, it's much faster. Since this report is probably not going to load right away, we can go to our history section and see both what is running currently and what our subscribe reports have been. So I'm going to go ahead and click on Go to My History list. So you can see here we've got a status. This report is running. So from here we can refresh things, or if I had any subscriptions to any of these guys that had already run and were still within 2 weeks, I would see them populated here. So we're still running here. Should be pretty quickly. If anybody was following along and trying to run their own reports, I don't know, maybe use the hand raised option in the Adobe Classroom to say, yes, my report has come back, if anybody was trying to run one. So you can see that mine has come back with a status of ready, so we're going to go ahead and check it out. So now we can see our report results. We can see here we've got different results for both the full line and the online stores, and they are broken out into both basic replenished and basic non-replenished. So we've got kind of the differences pointed out here. So now that we've run this report, maybe we realized that we didn't do exactly what we intended. Maybe we didn't complete our prompts exactly the way that we wanted to. So if we want to reprompt a report, we can select this down arrow next to data here. And then we could click this reprompt here, and then we could go back and make some different data selections. I'm not going to do that. I want to keep this report open right now. Oh, maybe I will. So you don't want to click rerun, because this will not let you make any changes. It's just going to redo the same process that we did with the same results. You want to make sure that you select reprompt. So let's pretend like I want to go to section 10. I realized I didn't like that. I'm going to include my, I don't know, some more seasons. Maybe I want to have my fall, winter, master season, and my spring, summer one too. But you'll notice that it didn't delete my basics, so I didn't start me from scratch. It still got all of the same selections that I had made previously. So now that I've got those guys, I'm going to go ahead.
And wait 1 second. Before we hit run, Becky was asking if you could go back over the time information.
Okay, so that time information in sections 3 and 4 here. So I've made a selection for 13 weeks of data to come back. But I have, if I wanted to make a different selection, maybe I want to, let's see, populate it by a certain day. Let's see, I brought across this day, but it had this little lockbox here. So I need to go ahead and click on that form. You have a couple of different options. Generally, you could select last year day number, but usually I would do ID equals and then maybe I'll select the 27th, and that's how I would be able to pull data for that day. What are your, do you have any specific questions about the time stuff? The weekend year to date. I'm not sure what the question is about weekend year to date.
Maybe how to populate it?
Okay,
Or how to choose that?
Oh, okay. So if you want to choose, so there's a couple ways to get at that. Maybe I want to say week end date is whatever my end date is. So maybe I want this week here. You could do that. Let's see about year to date here. Now, again, you definitely, if you're selecting something like a year, it's going to kind of be a lot of data, a large amount of data. So you'll probably want to keep the rest of your selections pretty basic, just so you don't, blow up your report. Maybe I want to see, I don't know, I could select 2017. I could also make a couple, if I scroll down here, maybe I want to select a quarter. Obviously, if the quarter hasn't happened yet, you're not going to get any data. Maybe I want a week. I could select a week this way as well. There's a couple ways to get at the data here. Is that helpful? Is that what you were looking for? Cool. All right. So now that I've made my change, I'm going to go ahead and click my Run Report again. Now it should have those changes. I'm going to go back to my history list and see here that it's running. Usually it takes only a couple seconds and we have our data. I'm not sure. I didn't have really any experience with that SBE stuff, but I can't imagine waiting longer than,
It would take hours.
It would take hours.
Yeah.
That's sad.
Yeah.
So just to refresh, I just keep kind of like clicking over here. I don't think it actually helps it go any faster, but it makes me feel better.
Yeah, you shouldn't have to click that.
No, you don't have to.
If you just stay on the page,
it'll,
the status will update.
Yeah, the status will update
automatically.
It just makes me feel like I'm doing something. So, and now we've got a status of ready, so we can go ahead and click on a report and enter it back in here. So it probably depends on whatever product I have in here. It looks like I did get some of that fall stuff that I was looking for. It's probably the selection of dunces that I made. Maybe some of them don't have any spring stuff, but I do see some fall data. I do see my basic stuff, so that's sweet. So that did well. Oh, and there's summer. We did get some of that spring-summer information that we wanted. So now we're happy. Let's say that we're happy with this report. Once we've created a report and successfully run it, we can save it. So saving the report will let you easily rerun the same exact report at a later date. And there's a really easy way to do this. We're just going to go right under Home, and you see this little floppy disk. We can click on that floppy disk. Now we've got this little prompt here. So if you would like to rename this report, you can do it here. If you're doing a couple different reports for different businesses, you might want to make some kind of call out to yourself about what division it was, or some other kind of call out. But that's not necessary to save it. You can just go ahead and you could click OK to save. So now we've got this little confirmation. It has been saved successfully. So let's go ahead and return to our original report. So the Sears Sales Reporting provides the ability to set up report subscriptions as well. So subscriptions can be set up to run daily or weekly. And after running a report, if you wanted to set up a subscription, we can click on the subscription icon, which is, it's kind of hard to see on my tiny little screen now. From the home bar, we can see there's this little spreadsheet that has this little this little clock on it. So that's the subscription option. There's another way to get to it as well. If I click on the home drop-down, you can also see the ability to subscribe to. So, but I'm going to use this little guy here. Okay, so now we've got our subscription menu here. Again, you have the ability to rename a subscription, and now you need to make sure that you choose the schedule for this report. So you could update that name if you want to. So now if I click on this drop-down, this is the available schedules from this menu. So there's a bunch of different options to choose from to schedule your report. A ton of these do have expiration dates. And this is just to make sure that unnecessary reports aren't running indefinitely. Oh, it looks like you guys aren't able to see.
That's weird.
That is very strange. Whoever is following along, you should be able to see it. That's very strange. Let's see. Normally, you should be able to see that. I'm not sure if maybe it's for whatever reason confidential. But for those of you that are following along, I'm going to make the selection of daily at 10 a.m. CST, expires July 15th. Oh, there we go. You can see I made that selection at least. I guess the different options weren't available to be shown, but you can make a couple different, there's a couple different options here. So now that we've made our selection about how often we want to run it, when it's going to run, you're definitely going to want to make sure that if it does have an expiration listed, you keep note of that. It is a super bummer when you come in on Monday and none of your reports are there because your subscription expired. So if you want to send an email notification, you could select to do that if you want to, but it's not necessary. All you'd have to do is just go to your history list and your subscription would be there. So I'm going to go ahead and click OK. So I got a little green note saying that my subscription was created successfully. Sears Sales Reporting also lets us edit the report results on the screen, so we can modify it if we want to. So the position of a column can be changed on the results, or a column could be deleted. After you edit the report results, you should save it as a new report, which would reflect the changes that you've made. So you might find this useful if you're trying to get a report to follow the same format that you had in SBE Sales Reports. You can move your columns around and then save and schedule that report, and it will run with those changes that you've made. So if I wanted to move some columns around, I'm going to grab it. I'm holding down. I've selected it, and I'm still clicking it, and then I'm just dragging it to wherever I want it to be. And now you can see that my gross sales are now over here. So if I wanted to delete a column, I am right-clicking, and then I could select Remove from Grid. So that would eliminate that column from this report, and it will not edit the report itself unless you resave it. So if let's say I don't want this anymore, so now he's gone. If you would like to see your report in a graphic format, you can click on the graph icon. So once we go to that graph icon, which is over here, once I hover over it, it gives me graph. And it kind of depends on how much data you've pulled back, whether that graph is actually going to mean anything. Let's see what this one shows us. Okay, so this is how this report would look after we click our graph icon. You can see it. This is what this graph looks like. If you want to go back to your original results, so let's say I don't really like this, you see this grid option right next to the graph option. So I'm going to go back to how we had it before, and that's that grid option.
So Tamara has a really good question. If you come out of the sales report before saving it, is it lost, and do you have to rerun it again?
So if you were to exit the screen, like say that you looked at this and then you clicked on the home page, it's not lost yet. Again, remember that it could hang out in your history list. For, I believe it's about 2 weeks.
Yeah, 2 weeks.
So but I would definitely not chance it and not, kind of wait that 2 weeks. I would, if I just went out to this home, if I went home, and then I'm going to go back to my history list here. I can see it here. So then I could go ahead and I could save it with those selections. And then it would just be saved and you should be good. Does that help? So it's not lost. It's still here. Okay. So how do we want to get this data into Excel? That's what everybody probably wants to know. That's what everybody likes to use to manipulate this data. I very rarely use any of the options here to manipulate the data. I would usually just export it to Excel, and then if I felt like I needed to move anything around, I could do it there. So to export the report to Excel, you'll see this little spreadsheet up here. It's right next to our delivery list option. We're going to go ahead and click on Export. Now we've got some different options that you could select about how it's exported, including like if we wanted plain text. I think that we're going to just leave these default settings. So it's going to be plain text, and we're going to have our titles and our details. If you like the way that the report looked with that formatting, you could go ahead and make that Excel with formatting selection here, but I'm just going to keep it as plain text. So once I'm happy with how we've got this set up, I click Export. So you can see here's this little prompt here, and then in the left-hand corner, I've got my gross summary sales report, and I can click on that to pull up Excel. I have a feeling it's not going to let you guys see my Excel yet, but it will momentarily once I share it with you. Just to prove that it actually happened. There you go. So this is this report in all its glory in Excel. And now I can edit it. I can do what I need to with this, whatever I need to do to make sure that the rest of my business partners can understand where I'm coming from or what I'm seeing or what I'm trying to get accomplished here. I can make all those changes here. So now that you've seen us build a report and you maybe have followed along, in which section would you select to view information from online only? And go ahead and vote on the right-hand side of your screen.
So we'll give you just a few more seconds, and then we'll end the poll.
All right. So for those of you who selected Section 8, Geography Filter, you were correct, so great job. So what happens when you forget all of this stuff or you run into issues? I would definitely recommend looking at the vendor portal, help resources under additional training, Sears Sales Reporting documentation. That would probably help you self-serve. Maybe you'd be able to troubleshoot what's going on. So you could find that on the Vendor University tab of the vendor portal. And on this page, you can find a link to this webinar once it gets uploaded. You can find a video that will help you out with getting started with these reports and the documentation. So you should have reviewed both video and documentation before today's webinar, but again, that's there for you as another resource. Help documentation is also available within the sales reporting application. So keep in mind this reporting platform is used by internal associates, and some of the features that are mentioned in this documentation might not be something that you actually have access to, like ad hoc reporting. But from within the application, you can just click Help Documentation in the top right corner of your screen, and the help file would open in a new window. From that new window, you can click on Alex 3.0 in the left menu pane to open the content, and click Vendor Reporting Overview Sears, and that'll help get you started within the application. There are two options under the Vendor Reporting Overview folder once you've accessed within the application. There's a job aid, and the other option includes links to the documentation and video that you could find on your vendor portal. For anything else, any additional issues, maybe you are not seeing the right DUNS numbers. For setup issues and report questions, contact vendor support. That's vendors@searshc.com. If you have general training questions, that's vendoruniversity@searshc.com. In the body of your email, please do include the vendor pay DUNS when that applies, a description of your issue, the report name, the criteria selections that you've made, and really this last one, any screen prints that apply. If you know, we can see exactly what you see, that helps a great deal. Some key points to remember: data for our sales reports, that's available up to 2 years back. Data for our inventory reports is available only for that previous week. If you don't see that DUNS number that you know you should have in Section 1, then you should definitely be reaching out to vendors@searshc.com. Many of our report prompts work in pairs, so if you've got one section that you're indicating criteria to filter what's returned on the report, and in the next section you indicate whether you want to see that broken out on the report results. You can now specify product characteristics to report against, which you did not have the ability to do before. Your reports can be exported to Excel with or without formatting, and you have the ability to subscribe to reports so that they're ready to go when you need them every week. I apologize for going a little bit over, but I do want to allow a little bit of time for any of the questions that you guys might have.
And Ken, we'll go back into demo mode in just a moment and show you the different options you have for formatting the export.
Right.
Otherwise, if you are good and you don't have any questions, feel free to go ahead and sign off. We do appreciate you attending today. I hope that you did find it helpful. And feel free to reach out to us if you have any other questions. Otherwise, we'll be on the line for a little bit. So after we show the exporting options again, you can feel free to ask us any additional questions. Have a great day, everybody.
So here's our exporting options. We're exporting the whole report. I've never selected portion displayed only. That's kind of useless. I like the whole report, all of the data. So if I wanted it in plain text in Excel, which is what you saw us export, this is the radial selection I would make. You could pull it into CSV file format. That's not one that I've typically used. It probably isn't very user-friendly, not too easy to read. Excel with formatting, that would have that Alex type, the blue bar, a little bit similar to what you're seeing on the screen. HTML, I've never really looked at, and plain text I've never really looked at before. But you're free to make those selections and see what happens when it comes out. It's comma separated, which is pretty typical. I wouldn't mess around with this too often. I'm not sure. Do you have any other specific questions about what we're seeing here?
Oh, he's saying when he clicks on the export icon, it skips the screen and goes right to the download screen. That's interesting.
So maybe that's something that they didn't tell us about, that you guys would have only the ability to export directly to Excel. But let's go ahead and let's go to...
What browser are you using? Oh, maybe it has to do with the browser.
Might have to do with your browser. I'm going to go into my preferences, and I'm going to click on Export Reports. So if I wanted to... Here you
There
go.
we go.
So make sure that this is checkmarked. This from your preferences, export results, or export reports rather, show options when exporting. That should be checkmarked. Otherwise, it might just automatically export with whatever you've got selected here. That's probably what is going on with you. I'm not sure why that would have been set up for you that way, though. So that should fix it.
So does that help, Ken?
So you want to go and click on, you click Home, and then you see in this left-hand side, we're going to go to Preferences. Then we're going to go to Export Results, or Export Reports. I don't know why I keep saying that. Export Reports. And then down at the bottom here, Excel with formatting options, you want to make sure that you've got this Show Options when Exporting box checkmarked.
Awesome.
So cool. So now you should be able to see those options now. And again, if you wanted to set it up for yourself and never have to think about it again, you could always go back to your preferences and uncheck that box if you wanted to. Good question.
So any other questions from anyone who's still on? I'm going to go ahead and stop recording, but we'll stay on the line for a little bit. So if you do want to ask any questions after you wait a